Everybody. This is Kathy with JLB, Journal Through Life from Beginning. I've been absent for a couple weeks. We are currently with our other channel doing our Try It Tuesday, which is cleaning the she shed. And that is basically taking up my whole mind series. But I thought I'd jump on here tonight real quick because I spoke with my cousin over the weekend. And he's a little interested, so I thought I would give him a little tour of what I know about his mom's side of the family, the Johnsons, and see where we can go from there. So we're going to share the screen. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm not 100% sure. There we go. And we want to share it with Facebook or with Family Tree Maker. Let's bring this up. Where did I go? Share. There we are. There I am. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to Joan Johnson. Can't give you much information about her because let's go to Robert Morris. There we go. Joan's dad is the same as my dad, which was Robert Morris Johnson, who married Dolly Wilson. For all intents and purposes of this small mini JLB today, I'm going to just simply transfer back the few generations of the Johnson side that I've been able to find and see if maybe perhaps we can find another generation while we're on here. Okay, so we have Robert Morris. He's in the green, which is if you've been watching me for any time, you know that anytime there's a green line shows up, that is the Johnson line going backwards. Anytime there's a yellow line, then we end up with, let me bring them up, the Wilson line going backwards. Okay, so but today, for this one, we're simply going to do the Johnsons. Granddaddy was born, Granddaddy Rob. There's so many granddaddies that I have to just give their first name. When I was younger, I called him Granddaddy Johnson. That was out of respect for Granddaddy because I really cared a lot for Granddaddy. But anyway, he was born January the 11th of 1910 here in Ansted, West Virginia. And just a few years after he was born, I'm wanting to say 7. He might have been 7. Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, well, he had just turned 8. So he was 8 years old when his mommy passed away. She died of cancer. But anyway, him and his younger brother, which was appealing to Joseph, which was Paul. Helen had passed away, Lauren had passed away, and all these other ones weren't born yet. But Robert and Paul were the little ones when their mom passed away. So they were sent to an orphanage in Charleston. Granddaddy, being that he was 8 years old, was not having that. So he took off from Charleston and managed to make his way all the way back up here to Ansted, where he lived the rest of his life, and he was still here when he passed away, right just a short distance from where I am. He had it wasn't a heart attack. I think it was like a stroke or something, sitting on his couch in his house down in Jacksonville. So they did take him on to the hospital, but they pronounced him dead on arrival. So he married Grandma July the 20th. Something's really interesting about that date in the family is because Granddaddy Rob and Grandma Dolly got married on July the 20th of 1935. Timmy's grandmother, Grandpa Will, and Grandma Nellie got married on July the 20th. My sister and her husband, Janet and Dean, got married on July the 20th. And then a few short years later, my youngest daughter was born on July the 20th. So July the 20th was a popular date in the family. So as I said, he passed away January the 25th, 1968. Um, they say his official spot of death is Montgomery Hospital, but I would say when he had the problem down here at Jackstown, he was already gone before they got him to the hospital. But I remember them telling me, because Granddaddy was my favorite person in the whole world. He called me Kitten, and I just thought that was absolutely the best thing in the world every time I got to spend any time with Granddaddy. And he had the same or similar, I should say, I have a similar asthma problem as he has, because he would be sitting on the porch. They had a porch off of the bedroom come out into the porch, and the living room come out into the porch of the house that they had. And in one corner of it, they had a porch swing that he sat on every time there was a Cincinnati Reds baseball game. And if we was cleaning house and got ready to come to the porch to sweep, because they always had sand, they lived down where the overflow of the hillside would put dirt into their yard all the time. It was so bad, sometimes we get out there just for the fun of it and sweep the yard, just so that we could have something to do. But anyway, he told me, he said, Kitten, don't sweep the porch today, because he couldn't breathe and he really wanted to hear his baseball game. So I didn't, but Granddaddy was just, for me, I was only 10 years old when he passed away, but I lived a lifetime with him before he did pass. So his dad was Joe Johnson. Now, there's several different ways of putting his name into the thing. Let's just put this. I want to put him up as front. Right there we go. Sometimes this thing works for me and sometimes it don't. He was born in Chesterfield, Virginia, July the 28th, 1880. He married Grandma Missouri September the 14th, 1904 in Raleigh County. That's the official birth or marriage place. So I guess he was coming from Virginia through Raleigh County and he ended up here in Ansted. I'm not sure, because Granddaddy James, or maybe he come out here after they got here and lived with Granddaddy Joe. I'm not sure. I'll have to research that. But anyway, and he died December the 23rd, 1934. He had married after Grandma Missouri, who passed away in 1918. He married again to Georgia Cameron, and they had several children. So in this particular episode, I'm not going to go into everybody that was a child of each one of them. I'm just going to go in with the main line from me and my cousin up backwards, just so that we can make sure that the information that I have, they can screenshot it here and look at it. They can pause it and look at it, whatever. This is the information that I currently have about the people that are in the family. So then once we're done with Grandpa Joe and Grandma Missouri, she died, I believe, I'm wanting to say she died of, I don't have it in there. I wanted to say she died of cancer of the bowels, but I'm not sure maybe it was breast cancer. It was cancer of some sort. Even back in 1918, you don't think that they could diagnose it and for over 100 and some years and still not find a cure? Come on. All the things that they can do, all these fancy AIs that they got, but as somebody said, there's no money in the cure. But it sure would be nice if they could find one. So Joseph he was the son of James Monroe. Oh, this never stays up there long enough for me to get him up there. James Monroe Johnson, who was born December the 29th. That is my third daughter's birthday, December the 29th, 1847. He married, let's get back to the facts. He married Marguerite, which is what they always told me her name was, although everybody spells it Margaret. Her name was Marguerite Wright. And she came from Virginia as well. So, and they had several children. You can see the list of all their children. They're all on the screen right there. But Granddaddy James passed away December the 27th, 1917. He was working on a tipple right here in the area somewhere and fell in. He's 72, must have been 69 years old. And he passed away like the year before Grandma Missouri passed away. But anyway, he fell into the tipple and got swallowed up by the coal and didn't make it out. So and then Marguerite Wright, she was born in Virginia on March the 13th, 1851. Now take into consideration, this is before the Civil War. She wasn't very old when the Civil War broke out. She died May the 11th, 1917. Look, she died in May of 1917. He died in December of 1917. So he could have been thinking about her and not paying attention to where he was at on that coal tipple. He could have been like me. I'm 67. He could have lost his balance. That part doesn't get told on the death certificate, just simply the cause of death. So you have to speculate as to what, how, where, when. But anybody's guess, because we're not a family. I'm taking even into consideration the people that I'm talking to now that are still living. We weren't a family that talked. We weren't one of those drama-seeking families that wanted to talk about the stuff that happened to us when we were younger. So they were all just like, if you weren't told directly, you didn't think to ask. So how I found out all this information about the family is still surprising to me. And it's hard for me when I get so excited about telling everybody what I know and what I found out and how well it's going. I just really get overexcited and I lose them. I forget to slow down long enough. I forget to take my computer with me so that I can sit down with somebody and show them what I know. So that's why I'm bringing it up this way. I'm bringing it up so that we can get in, we can look at it. I'm leaving it open for you to screenshot it. I don't care if you get my information. It doesn't bother me any. I've done the research. I know what I know, but everybody's infallible. Everybody, the sources that you find the information from may not remember correctly. Like I told you before when we first started this, me and Timmy, we're getting ready to celebrate our 50th wedding anniversary, and we were actually married on August the 9th. I was there. I know. August the 9th. About 1 o'clock in the day, August the 9th. But on our marriage certificate, it states officially that we were married on August the 8th. That's what the preacher put on the marriage certificate. So if you go to the courthouse, that is our official date. But our correct date is August the 9th. And if I didn't put that down in the book, along with the story of why mine is a discrepancy from what they have over at Fayetteville, you wouldn't know. And I found a lot of discrepancies. So why there are discrepancies is what's leaving me astray, because they might say they were born here, and I'm saying like it's even sometimes as much as 2 to 3 months of difference. But if you look at it closely, what there could be basing it off of is where they went and looked online in these papers that they did the census with, and they did the recording of the births, deaths, marriages, and stuff. They hand wrote that. in some fancy language and some fancy writing, because a lot of people didn't write at all back in the day, and the ones that did like to do the fancy writing because that's what they grew up on. So some of the letters and some of the numbers mimic the other ones. So you have to be really cognizant of when you're doing research, could this number be a different number? And don't ever change your information to accommodate somebody else's information until you're 100% sure that their information is correct. Just simply go up into, if you're writing it out on pencil and paper like I showed you to start with, simply strike through it with a red pen and put the new date. But keep the old date so that you can know when you find out for sure which one of those dates is correct, you can put a little circle around it. And therefore you have the correct date. But nobody knows for sure. This stuff is way too far back. We've had too many courthouses burned down. We've had too much people putting stuff online, and anytime you transfer it from one to the other, you have a small, minute chance of copying down the wrong number, hitting the wrong key if you're typing it in. So just don't ever say, I won't tell you this is 100% correct. This is the best that I know of currently. So if you know of anything else, if you know something that I don't know or something that I don't have in here, or you have pictures you want to share, please send them to me at Journal Thru Life, JOURNALTHRU life from beginning at gmail.com. And if that's too hard for you to remember, simply send them to me at katiekincaid@gmail. That's easy. That's my name without the H. So that's an easy one to remember. All right, so James, his father's name was Ammard, Ammard. Now this one I found in this family tree program. It could have been like my Uncle Pi's middle name was Ammon. It could have been that. Or it could have been somebody writing it down and they thought it was. So that's how he got his name. I am not sure. But the one that I found in the research on familytree.com or ancestry.com is Ammard Johnson. And he was born February of 1828. Now that is well, actually I can go back to Wilson, but he married Susan Foster on December the 30th of 1844. So that was, they were married a few years before Granddaddy James came into the picture. So that was pretty good. They were married in Amelia, Virginia. I've heard Timmy talk about that. He works out in Virginia sometimes. So Susan was born in 1827. She, like me and Timmy, I was a year, 3 months, and 18 days older than Timmy when we got married. But that's not saying something because he wasn't but 16 and me 17 when we got married. And August 1st of this year, we will be married 50 years. You can put congratulations in the comment box if you want to. I'd appreciate it. All right, so then the last one that I have currently is Wilson Johnson. Wilson Johnson was born in 1780, and he married Mary Wright. But if you'll look, that could be a great aunt of Marguerite Wright. I think Marguerite's husband or father was Hezekiah. Okay, so this Hezekiah could have been a nephew of Mary. Because back in the day, you didn't have a whole lot of choices. It wasn't like you could run even across the state and find somebody you wasn't kin to. And even today, if you look close enough, you're not too far distant kin from the person that you ended up with anyway. So, funny story about that, when I first started doing genealogy, my daughters would come to me and say, Mom, I met such and such today, and I really like him. Is he in the family? I have to tell him, no, baby, that name hasn't come up yet. But that was so funny. But I mean, I have really, really spent some time over the last 40, 45 years doing as much as I can to figure this out. I've got back into it over the last year when I bought the family tree maker. I had it before, and then they didn't upgrade it. So then I had to go back and buy it online, which is a subscription that you have to pay for every year. But it was worth it. It has been extremely worth it to me to be able to bring back these families farther and farther. I think Wilson will be my seventh generation. Let me see. Yeah. When it comes up to the fourth great grandfather, that's currently as far back as I'm going to go with the book. Now, the book that we're going to have, the book that I'm going to be working on, is going to be a kind of a hybrid between our family generation and the current events of the time. So as for, let's just say, Ammer Johnson here was born in 1828. He said by the time he reached adulthood and could sit around the table with family and friends, the world was bustling with dramatic change and revolutionary ideas. So they were already deciding at that point in time that they might be wanting to not be under English rule. So you just don't know what people might be thinking about, but that's kind of stuff. Now, the actual conversation or the gist of the conversation, I'm going to have to infer. Not because I wasn't there, I wasn't sitting around the dinner table, but by the time that he got to 1840 to 1844, where he married Susan, there was a lot more things coming into play. The springtime of nations, the upheaval in France, the and the other things that was going on, the fall of King Louis. All of these things would have eventually, from where they were at, eventually made it over to the States. And there weren't states in, but you get my drift. Get over here. So they might, it might be 6 months after it happened, but they would be bustling with all kind of information. Because none of this stuff, you don't do it like you do get online and you find instant. In fact, I think sometimes, and this is just my personal opinion, but I think sometimes that instant gratification for somebody sucks. Now, not that I won't want to have subscribers to my channel, not that I don't want to subscribe to somebody else's channel, but my husband is entirely correct. The United States is nothing but a drama nation. The next wildest clickbait thing that they can find. And they don't 100% care if it's the truth. I don't agree with that. I think if you're going to spit it out of your mouth, it should be as close to the truth as what you can get it. If you do, as they said when I was a kid, if you do not have anything good to say, don't say anything. Just don't. And they're just, one person will put out a newspaper article and they'll be jumping on it 100-fold. There'll be 25 videos on the same blooming thing. You get so tired you don't want to listen to none of it. So that's where you can come in and you can watch me and we'll journey through history and find out what they talked about there. Okay, the tension in the states come along in the 1840s and 1850s. The annexation of Texas was in 1845. The Mexican-American War was 1846 to 1848. We got new territories, California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. Of course, the conflict of slavery was starting because they did not want it. The northern states did not want it. And the southern states, it's just like nowadays where they say nobody's going to do the work because blah, blah, blah. All you have to do is either give them an option to be sent home or get paid for what they're doing. But I digress. I'm not president. So, says, hey guys, sorry. I got a quick telephone call I had to take. I'm not sure where it was at, but I think I was at speaking the rest of the way of Amber Johnson. So those are the ones that I will be putting in the book to start with, along with the juicy details that I was able to get today off of Copilot 365. That's going to be a wonderful help to me to write this book. So I'm going to go because it's getting late and it's dark. Got to get this uploaded tonight. I am sorry that it is late. But like I said, I have been working on the She Shed, so that took the biggest part of my day. There will be no JLB video next week, but I will bring back one the following week. So I'll send a little community note saying that the JLB video is up and running. So if you want to watch, please stop by. If you have something specific you would like to ask me as far as the Johnson family is concerned, please be sure to give me a little note. Leave me a comment in this video and I will see what I can find out for you and let you know. As of that, I'm going to say goodbye and we will talk to you all in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.